Okay, I've got a question. What do an upside down pair of shoes, a Bollywood boombox, and the merging of families have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in 2024's Hallmark movie Christmas with the Singhs. And we've got a lot to talk about, Josh.
You bet we do, Jennifer. We'll unwrap it all on this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh. All right, so I think we're about halfway through the countdown to Christmas. I think we are halfway through the lineup of new movies. As of recording, it's mid-November, a little over a month until the big day, Christmas Day. Can you believe it? It's
It's
going by so
flying by.
fast.
It's flying by. I'm not surprised. It happens every year, and it just feels like it keeps getting faster. But we've got a really interesting one to chat with you about on this particular episode. So we're going to take a deep dive on the plot behind Christmas with the Sings. And then later on in our Gold or Coal segment, we will break down our hot takes and tell you if we think it's worth the watch, Jennifer.
That's right. Break it down. Now, here is the plot summary. Holiday traditions and cultures collide when Aja and Jake meet their families. Okay, so we open to an ER and it's Christmas Day, I guess. And there's a nurse named Asha, and she calls her parents and they understand, but she won't be home for Christmas this year. They're sad, but they get it and they seem very precious. We meet Jake, who's a sports reporter, male lead of Chicago, and he had to work the big game. So he also missed Christmas with his parents who are separated. So right out of the gate, we're meeting a lot of people. In an effort to be a good Samaritan, Jake slips and falls on ice and lands himself in the ER because he was trying to help a woman with her packages. What do you know? Jake goes to Asha's run ER and she tends to him. Turns out they were high school friends and she was the smart tutor. He was the jock. They didn't really know each other that well. What in the world? But they're reconnecting. His heart rate goes up because he's hooked up to all these monitors because he likes her. And he's like, "Hey, will you go get a drink with me?" And she says, "Yes." They talk a little bit about their past. She didn't want to chase her dad's dreams because I guess he wanted her to be a doctor, and so she lied about passing whatever the final exams were when she really did pass. She just didn't want to take that career path. She wanted to be a nurse practitioner instead and or physician's assistant. Anyways, high skilled nursing. And, so we already get out of the gate that there's this familial guilt thing happening. Her dad's super protective of her, a little pushy, and Jake's like, "Every family has their quirks." Ooh, does he know what's coming? He does not. They flirt over apps and learn her family's big into Christmas. They are now Christians. Her mom's side is Hindu, but they converted when mom married dad. They're outside, they're chatting, they kiss, and then they start dating. This is the first few minutes of the movie. Then we get a dating montage, and it was very similar to Five-Year Christmas Party, how they showed the passage of time because they're walking down the street and it's different seasons and different things, different weather. And then we're back at the next Christmas, and they're celebrating their almost 1-year anniversary, and they go back to the same restaurant they were at a year ago. And a waitress comes by and, like, clunk clinks this ring box down on the table in, like, a drive-by situation, nearly lands on his plate. It's not very subtle, and he gets on one knee, and Jake proposes to Asha, and she says, "Yes," and it's the shortest movie ever. Wrap it up.
Done.
Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. So now we get to the real meat and potatoes of it. They're gonna meet each other's family. They're gonna go home to the town that they grew up in, and they have not met each other's family after dating for a year. What could go wrong? Well, Asha is learned to or she's shocked, right? She learns that Jake did not talk to her parents and ask for permission before proposing to her, which he's like, "I didn't think people did that anymore. I didn't think it was a big deal. It's gonna be a big deal to her family." Oops. So we'll see what happens there. They fly to the parents' house. There's a rental car debacle. They have to settle for, like, the tiniest car known to man, and then off they go. But wait, all their parents in the same general-ish area, so they've got, like, wall-to-wall Christmas activities they've gotta do with his dad, his mom being separated, and her family. So it's packed to the brim with things to go and do, and they're a little stressed out, but they can handle it, right? They get to her parents' house. Dad's gone all out with the Christmas decor. He's like a kid at Christmas, as they may say. You would think he'd be bubbly and warm and sweet to fit that personality. No, we meet Dad. He is ice cold and tells Jake, "You can call me sir." And Dad is peeved that Jake did not ask for her hand in marriage. And it's an icy encounter before they even get out of the foyer at this home.
Yeah.
Dad's not gonna give Jake any margin to work with or wiggle room here. He's gonna be very high standards for his precious baby girl. And Jake is working in overtime to try to win the dad over, and he's getting nowhere. So this is the premise of the movie, right? It's kinda like Meet the Fockers or Meet the Parents, both of those, I guess. And so, he, like, judges the rental car. He's like, "That's not suitable for icy winter roads." Like, Jake has done nothing correctly. Now, Asha's mom's pretty sweet, and then we also meet other members of her family because once they heard Jake was coming, like, the whole family showed up. They didn't have speaking roles, most of them, but it was full. It would be overwhelming. For my husband met my extended family. He'd obviously met my parents, but my family, when we get together, there's probably 30-ish people the weekend before Christmas, and I was almost making flashcards. I'm like, "Okay, this person's with this branch, this person's with that branch." I quizzed him. It's a lot of preparation that goes into it, and I can imagine it would be overwhelming for him.
Yeah. And you get the sense that he did not have any such preparation and was woefully unprepared for this onslaught of people. And I think she was surprised everybody was there from her family too.
Yeah, she was definitely surprised. She's also surprised to learn that there's going to be a Hindu blessing ceremony for their engagement on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day at her brother's restaurant, and she's like, "Oh, okay, good to know." They think they're gonna share a room together. Mom laughs at that. "No, no, no, you're not married yet. Jake, you're gonna sleep in the basement on an air mattress in a very dark, musty." Like, I could almost smell the basement. You know, every basement has that smell. That's where Jake's gonna sleep, and he's like, "Okay, this is fine. It's fine." Then we get more culture shock when his shoes are upside down in the foyer, and that's evidently bad luck. And they have a feast, and the food is very spicy, but Jake's trying to show them all that he can hang with the spicy food, and he cannot hang. Was worried about his health. He was sweating as much as the melting snowman was sweating in Hot Frosty. If you haven't had a review of that, go back and watch that. We'll link it here. Lots of sweating going on with the movies this week. Lots of men sweating, but not in like a sensual way, just like a brief moment of peril, beam up kind of way.
The beam up sweat fest.
Yes. Ugh. So then dad does reveal that he tells the Christmas story every year at church because he thinks everyone deserves to hear the Christmas story, and that's something from his childhood and his young years in the past. Love that. So we do learn dad's not a bad person, but he's a strict dad. Okay.
Mhm.
It's at this point that Jake tries to impress them. I already said that he's eating the spicy food, and we learn dad just wants the best for her. Okay. So on we go. They go to Jake's dad's house, and the culture shock is reversed. And I just hit my microphone. Dad's like, "No, you can keep your shoes on. It's okay. Come on in. Oh, I got Chinese food from." Did you catch where they got the Chinese food from?
No.
The the Golden Dragon,
Golden Dragon. It's the Hallmark
which was a
universe.
throwback to a Hallmark movie from a couple years ago that we did recap and review. Again, we'll link it on our YouTube. But yeah, the Gold Dragon. I love that. This is what we've been saying we want. This Hallmark metaverse. Of course they're gonna get food from the Golden Dragon. I love that tidbit. Well, dad's like, "Hey, Asha, you work, you have a very demanding work schedule. Jake travels a lot for work. Who's gonna stay home with the kids?" Boom. When I tell you guys, it's like these two had never even talked about children,
No.
which is fine. And it's not dad's place or business to ask that, but you would think the conversation would have come up by the time you're engaged and betrothed to
Maybe.
one another.
Yeah.
They'd never talked about it, never, and then they're like, "What? Oh, I don't know. What are we gonna do with the kid?" And so it starts to spiral. Like these parents are getting in their head and infiltrating their precious little happy-go-lucky relationship. And Dad's like, "I don't know, Jake. I don't want you to end up in the same position as me and your mom. We were trying to work and juggle family life, and it's just really hard. So I guess that's why they're no longer together," which seemed flimsy,
Yeah.
but here we are. We then go meet Jake's Christmas cheer mom. Now I'm worn out. This is the first day I'm worn out. So we go to meet Christmas cheer mom, and she God love her.
Bless.
She says things that are, I think, insensitive from a racial standpoint. But she does, I believe, mean well. She's trying to connect, but she says things like, "I've seen Eat, Pray, Love 30 times. I would love to go to India." And, like, later, she's wearing a sari. Like, she's trying too hard, and it's
Cringy.
so awkward. It's
Cringy.
so cringy. God love her. So, mom's the queen of Christmas. They're gonna wrap presents, and Josh and or no, Jake, you're Josh. Jake and Asha recap the day, and other than the near-death food incident with the spicy food, it was okay. They go back to the Sings to sleep, and then the next day, Dad's gonna send Jake on the roof to inspect malfunctioning Christmas lights. Jake falls off the ladder because he learns that Asha was proposed to in the past, and she hadn't told him because she was afraid it would upset him. And they're like, "Okay, from now on, no more secrets." I do feel like maybe we should be talking about these things
Yeah.
if you're engaged to one another. It should have come up by now.
You
This
would
is
think.
not like a brand spanking new relationship. A year as adults is a long time to date. Like, I feel like the older you get, the shorter you can be together. Like, it's not like they're in high school and they've been dating a year. A year as a it's a decent amount of time. What have we been talking about, guys? Not these important topics. So Jake's parents arrive at the Sings, and his mom shows up, like I said, in the traditional Indian wear to show the family that she respects the culture. Jake's parents walk in with their shoes on, and they're like, Hush's family is like cringing. They're like, "We're going to let it slide. We're going to let it slide. It's okay." They learn that Jake's mom used to beat Asha's dad in the exterior decorating competition. Though. They're putting it together that their paths have crossed in the past, and tensions start to rise. And then they rise even further when we talk about the engagement party, because let's just say they have differing views of how all that should go. But then they all sing Silent Night with traditional Indian instruments, and that scene I think was very sweet. Everybody was coming together, it kind of panned around, and it was like a slower paced portion to just take a beat and remember the reason for the season, right?
I loved it, especially because Samuel, her dad, played the sitar in that scene, and it was one of those where he doesn't normally do it, but she asked him to do it, so it was kind of a sweet gesture, I thought, on his part.
It was. It was very sweet. They're all getting along, but not for long, because then they're gonna go to the carnival, the Christmas carnival. The dads are battling in games such as candy cane hooks, like you take the candy cane and you're trying to like kinda like barrel of monkeys it, like hook them and stack them. Then there's a snowball toss. Jake's mom wins the gingerbread house competition against Asha's dad, and a creepy giant gingerbread costumed person comes out to give her a trophy that I was uncomfortable with.
I was.
Just say that. And Asha's dad wonders, can the families really blend our traditions when we're so far apart? What? You have the same traditions. The family is Christian. They decorate for Christmas. They do all the same things that you're just mad that you got beaten.
That's exactly what it is, yeah. Hurt people hurt people.
That's right. So Asha's mom is like, hey, let me remind you in the beginning, I was Hindu, you were Christian, we built our life together, we made it work. Well, they made it work because she converted, but
I mean, that's not it.
they made it work nonetheless. I did like her mom. I thought her mom was like, she was the one that you can tell can like get him to lower his blood pressure and kind of like chill out a little bit. It's gonna be okay. Here's some perspective. So, he needs it for sure.
Really.
Asha and Jake sneak out to have a date on their own, away from chaperones, because man, I miss us. They've been here what 2 days. I just really miss us.
I just miss us. We haven't done that.
And then after 2 days, oh my gosh, you've been together nonstop for 2 days and, okay, maybe you don't need to have kids,
Mm.
'cause kids will throw a wrench in your little reindeer game plans more than the parents will.
Indeed.
Love them as I do. I'm just saying, like, 2 days is not that long, but okay. So, their sweet moment is short-lived because Asha gets pulled away to pick a sari for her engagement party, and Jake gets pulled away to help his mom get a Christmas tree for his dad's house because he hadn't decorated for Christmas. Why are his parents divorced again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My
They get
question
along
too. Yeah.
they get
Are you getting that swimming right?
spirits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Alright. Jake and Asha get testy with one another when Jake's family wants him to wear a vest, like a plaid vest that's been handed down for generations, but her family bought him the traditional outfit worn by men at special occasions in her culture. And then she wonders, can our families blend together? Are we meant to be together? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you're meant to be. You don't even live in this town. You have gone a year without seeing these people. You probably won't see them again until next Christmas. Or maybe if you pick up a shift next year, you'll have to get out of that too. So it will be fine. Stop it. But then Asha has a heart to heart with her brother, and he's super encouraging. And Jake and Asha make up and go to his mom's pageant. Okay, so this is the big Christmas Eve pageant, right?
Yes.
Mom has the pageant, but Jake's mom has the Christmas pageant. Asha's dad reads the Christmas story at their church every year. We've always done this, Asha.
And you better be there.
Not this is you better be on time. They're like, it's fine. The timing's gonna work out great. Well, that was all well and good until Joseph and Mary got food poisoning for the pageant. And she's like, I need somebody to stand in. You guys can fit the costumes. So they get roped into being Mary and Joseph. And it was some bad eggnog. And you gotta know where your nog's coming from, okay? Because
Watch that
I
knob.
would not drink communal church eggnog.
No. No.
No. So back at Asha's family's church, the service is about to start, and Asha and Jake are nowhere to be found. And the TikTok is TikToking. And then Dad gets on stage, opens the Christmas story, looking around. In they run, full regalia of Mary and Joseph, straight out of the Bethlehem Collection 2024. Okay, straight from the runway. Now, this is where I thought when they come in that the dad would, like, play it up or make it like a whole thing, like,
Pull them into the story. Yes, and look you. But
I love them here. No, instead, it's awkward. Everybody just like chirp, chirp, stares at them. They awkwardly tootle in to their seats. Jake's parents follow and they awkwardly sit down and they're just sitting there. And the dad reads the Christmas story. Probably, we didn't see it, but I'm sure it was a cold rendition of the Christmas story because he
sucked all the warmth
is
out of that one.
ticked off.
He has had it.
He has had enough of this family's you've made a mockery of the family's most cherished tradition. Asha! He says her name like that. And Jake, then it's because they're yelling at each other after this, right? Dad's yelling. Asha's like, no, Dad. And Jake's trying to stick up for her. And then Dad says, you're not a member of the family yet. Golly, everyone's snipping at each other. Jake's parents get involved. They're trying to stick up for him. Asha's mom is like, I'm staying out of this
I'm out.
because she is the smartest one of the bunch and probably on some anxiety medication if I could take a guess. She's probably like, y'all just figure this out. I'm going to go wait outside in the car.
Yes.
No. Everyone's snippy. Asha ends it by saying, I don't think this relationship will work. What?
We're breaking up.
We're breaking up. Engagement over. All right, outside the church, the dads talk and apologize to one another very quickly. Because you know what? They both just want the best for their kids, guys. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jake and Asha's dad say, oh no. Then Jake's dad's like, here, Asha's dad, come to my house. And he apologizes to Jake. He's like, I was too hard on you. I'm so sorry. I respect you. And he says, will you marry my daughter? And he's like, are you proposing to me? Which I thought that was fun, like a dad, future son-in-law scene. Then they're off to go find Asha because we gotta fix this whole mess, right? She's crying in her childhood room. And Asha's dad's like, come outside, come outside. And Jake is holding up a boombox, blasting Bollywood music outside of the house. And then he dances terribly. And he's like, your dad put me up to this. He thought you needed to be cheered up. And they're back together very quickly.
Very.
We then go to the engagement party. And guess what, guys? It turns out Jake can wear what he wants. And Asha can wear what she wants. And it's all going to be okay. But Jake had his plaid vest on, looking like Kermit from A Christmas Story. And if you don't get the reference, it's okay. But just know, Muppet Family Christmas, Kermit wears a baller plaid vest. I'll put a picture on our
Very much so.
Okay, so it's like that. And then did you see her sari did have that same plaid fabric draped, which was very nice. So guess what? We can merge the traditions and cultures together. They drink spicy eggnog. Asha's dad does a toast, welcoming him to the family. Jake's parents are on a date together tonight, and they give a toast, welcoming her to their family. They give a blessing to Asha and Jake, and then everybody's dancing. There's kissing, and they live happily ever after, presumably, especially after they get out of this town.
Get back home.
Get back home. Go home.
It's time for Gold or Coal.
Okay, it is time for our Gold or Coal segment. If you're new to the podcast, Josh and I each bring 3 gifts to the pod. If there's more gold, it's a walk down the aisle. And if there's more coal, it's a runaway bride. Because they're not married yet, but they're engaged, so,
Yeah.
close enough. If it's a tie, it's just going to be a Merry Christmas. Josh, I'm coming to you first.
So gold for me, for my first gift, I really liked the development of this father-in-law relationship with Jake throughout. I think the guy who played it was really tough
Mm-hmm.
on him, as you would expect a dad in this kind of scenario to be, who had not even met the guy that his daughter is going to marry. But it does soften, it does thaw, and I thought the resolution to it at the end was really satisfying. So I liked that relationship. So gold for me.
Yes. I will give some gold. I like the meet the parents, meet the Fockers vibes. It was fun. There were definitely some funny moments. Some of it was a little too stereotypical, I feel like the spicy food scene. I don't know. I feel like I've seen something like that before, but overall, I like the humor, and I thought it was pretty light and fun throughout. So gold.
Well, good. Yeah. I am going to give some coal. The first 10 minutes of this movie were tough for me to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of made me think, once I was about 2/3 of the way through it and actually started liking this thing, it started making me think a lot of like Holiday Road. Remember how there was this criticism last year of Holiday Road where if you didn't like the first 10 minutes and didn't stay with it, you missed out on a movie that was actually pretty good? I
Yeah.
think it's the same sort of thing here, because I'll be honest with you, I did not need this sort of whiplash introduction of them as a relationship. I think we could have done away with that and just started the movie with them as an engaged couple who were returning home and found a way to get into it a different way. I didn't need the setup of them falling in love and reconnecting while she's
And
at
falling
work.
on the
Yeah,
ice and
exactly.
all the things. Yeah.
I didn't need that, because I think that just sort of rushed the first 10 minutes in this way that really wasn't all that fun to watch for me. It was,
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
That's a great point. And yeah, all of that could have been handled with a few sentences as they're on their way to be with families.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I hate that we couldn't, neither of us could come home for Christmas last year, but this year we're together. And like, there's a way to do that. And
Something. Yeah.
yeah, because the first 10 minutes do feel so much like a different movie.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's everything about it. And I know it's because it's in the city and whatever, but it feels totally different. So I agree. Also, Hallmark, y'all didn't do this movie any favors. I saw like one preview for this movie, and I'm on the Hallmark channel a lot. I just feel like they didn't promote it, and they didn't promote it well in my mind because, well, we'll get to it. I was pleasantly surprised with this movie, but I was not looking forward to it based on all the previews and the little bit of information we got ahead of time. So
Yeah.
do better, Hallmark there. Okay. Okay, so that was your Cole. I'm gonna give Cole. I feel like the surface level representation of Indian culture I wanted more. Like, especially because they're like, oh, can we merge our traditions and our backgrounds? And well, then show me that. I want to learn more about another culture outside of my own. And I feel like they could have done more with that other than just kind of the surface level, oh, we take our shoes off out the front door. Like, that stuff was fine, but I wish there had been some more of that, I
Yeah.
guess.
Like explaining the traditions or
Yeah.
taking us more into that world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. My last gift will be gold. I did like this couple at the end of the day. I liked the
Mhm.
two of them together. I thought she was really believable in this role of kind of a young up and coming woman who was trying to separate from her overbearing parents and overbearing father, especially, to sort of find her own way. And she had to do that in some sneaky ways in her past, with the whole thing with her MCATs and hiding that from her dad because she didn't want to be a doctor. And then I think we saw her at the end sort of assert herself in a way with her dad that I think was really healthy for her. And I like seeing that kind of self-awareness in a character in terms of the way they grow. And I like them as a couple. So gold for me.
Mm. Well, I did like that scene when she told her dad what she had done, that she really did pass the MCATs, and you could tell he was shocked, but also he was really proud of her too. Like, he was proud she had passed it, but also sad that she felt the need that she needed to lie to him, that he had put so much pressure on her that she had to make that choice. And I
Yes.
think as parents, I don't wanna speak for you, but, like, the last thing I wanna do is put pressure on my kids, like, to make them have to, yes, they need to try their best, even at school, in elementary school or whatever, but if you bomb a test, it's okay, as long as you're always trying your best, like, you can always come home kinda thing, so I liked that. I'm gonna give some gold for Ben Hollingsworth. He was the male lead in Santa Summit last year, and he was awesome there, but honestly, we didn't get to see him as much as we usually do male leads because of the inner workings of that movie. It was a lot of following the female lead and her 2 friends around, and we kind of crossed paths with him along the way, but I liked him then. So glad he got another leading spot in the movie this year. I wanna see more of him. He does seem very natural. He did some good physical comedy bits and was very expressive and showed some range, so gold for him.
Yeah, he was really funny at points in this too.
Yeah.
The way that he would sort of react to lines or pace lines really sort of felt unique and fun to watch. So, bottom line, 4-2, 4 gold, 2 coal. We think it's worth the watch. We're going to call it a walk down the aisle. And like you, Jennifer, I'm kind of disappointed that Hallmark Channel didn't put a little bit more promotional oomph behind of this because it was a really good one. I thought it was
Yeah.
fun to watch, good story, nice development of a relationship, good sort of family dynamics, and some laughs here and there. Yeah, I think it was kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, we had some nitpicky things, but overall, I thought this was a really solid movie, and I would totally watch it again, and I would tell other people to watch it too. So, there you go. And that, friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I
Hey,
Watch?
a special thanks to our good friend Nick Shores for our theme song. And of course, to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch us on our YouTube channel or listen on your favorite podcast platform.
That's right, and if you've made it this far in our recap review, you must like what you hear. Hey, I have an idea. Get your little fingies out on your phone and subscribe to the podcast. If you want to leave a 5-star rating and review, wouldn't hate that. And if you're on YouTube, if you want to subscribe there, smash the buttons and do the things and tell your friends about it. We would appreciate it. We're trying to spread the joy this season and grow our little podcast family. If you want to connect with us, you can do that at doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com. All right. Next time, we're going to go to a different network. We're like Jingle Bell Run people. Like, we need the infographics showing us going to different networks because we were at Hallmark, then we were at Netflix, and now we're back at Hallmark, and now we're going to go to Great American Family for a movie starring Candace Cameron Bure, a polarizing former female Queen of Christmas, has gone over there. Don't add us, but here we are. We're going to talk about this movie, and it's called what? A Road Less Traveled?
A
Christmas Road.
Christmas less traveled.
Christmas Less Traveled. Here's the synopsis. As Desi faces the dilemma of selling her late father's beloved truck, a chance encounter with a handsome stranger leads to a transformative road trip where they find the courage to embrace the future. We are going to have much to discuss. But until then,
May your days be merry and bright. Take care.